Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is a 986 Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. And what a battle I've got for you today. Okay, you'll see this is fought on one of our traditional battle maps, the Germanic forest map, where you've got the big open plains if you want to play out in the open there. And of course, barbarian troops would get the winter bonus. Or you can hide your troops in the woods there and spring those nasty ambushes onto enemy troops. So I'd say this traditional battlefield of the Germanic forest is a pretty good map, really. Okay, our first teammate is someone who's called himself Orcs1113, but is in fact RTW player Markus. Now Markus has got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry, nearly the bog standard 31k Roman army, but the only difference is he's got a morale boosting eagle unit within his ranks there. Okay, so 14 infantry and 6 cavalry for Markus. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Fesen with his faction of choice. Now he's got 17 sacred band and 2 militia. Okay, there you are, there's his militia there. He'll probably put those as his pilot shield units in front of his main battle formation. That's what he usually does. And you have a look at the upgrades on his Sacred Band Spearman. 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Remember, those Sacred Band Spearmen are tough, kind of in their own right, but you put really good upgrades on, and you got some serious infantry there. And remember, that is Fesen's faction of choice. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Spark. Now he's got 12 heavy spearmen and 8 cavalry. Okay, 12 heavy spearmen, 8 cavalry. Nice to see Spark back on RTW. And to say with his Armenian army. Remember that Armenia, because their infantry is so poor, we allow them to have 8 cavalry. Okay, now if you look at his spearmen there, I think some of his spearmen have got 7 upgrades on and experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. But if I remember correctly, most of his heavy spearmen are just gold shield, gold attack. As you can see there, those spears will be anti-cavalry, but they are pretty good at holding up enemy infantry as well. Okay, so he's spent his money on his cavalry is what I'm thinking here. And oh yes, you can see 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on his cataphracts. Remember, we call these guys the tanks of the ancient world because they're armored from head to toe, and used correctly they can be battle winning troops. So that's Spark's Armenian army there. And our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, with his very old Germanic army, which we'll have a little look at a little bit later on. So there's our team, a very diverse team I would suggest here, with Rome with Markus, Carthage with Fesen, Armenia with Spark, and myself with Germania. Should be a cracking game for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Vidar. Now Vidar's got 12 infantry, 1 peasant and 6 cavalry, but he's got an unusual army build here. If we look a little bit closer, you can see, as I say, he's got a peasant unit there. That'd be obviously a pilot shield unit, but also he's got another cheap unit there, the Hastati. Very rare you see that unit in a 31k battle. They're, as I say, pretty cheap. And then you've got these units here, the Praetorian cohorts, which are cheaper than urban cohorts. So he saved himself a lot of money there by having cheap pilot shield units at the front of his battle formation. Now, if we have a look at his urban cohorts, you'll see that he's only got gold shield, gold attack. So that tells me that he spent his money on his cavalry. Let's have a close look at his cavalry. And there you go. 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So saving money on having cheap pilot shield units, look, has enabled him to really upgrade his cavalry well there. And also you'll see that his general is an eagle unit as well. That's kind of old school. You don't see that very often, an eagle unit as the general unit. So I think that would be a tried and tested Vidar army. Be interested to see how well it does. Okay, their next teammate is a player who's called himself No Savage. Now, a lot of RTW veterans, can you remember a player called Zeke? Supposed to be really good. If you remember, he was a really good player. Well, this guy, there was a rumour going around that this might be Zeke, but nothing definite on that. So as far as I know, he's No Savage, and he's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Okay, 14 infantry and 6 cavalry, the kind of bog standard 31k Roman army, except that he's got a fast moving armoured cavalry general unit there. Okay, now there might be a reason for that. We're going to have a look at that a little bit later on. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Royer. Okay, now Royer has got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry, almost the bog standard 31k Roman army, except that he's got an eagle unit at the front of his battle formation there. Okay, so he's got a morale boosting eagle unit there, as well as his general morale. Quick look at the upgrades on his cavalry. I'm thinking probably just gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. Okay, so that's a pretty interesting army there. Now their 4th teammate, if we can find him in the woods, a quick look through the woods there, see if we can. Oh, there he is over there. Now this is a player that called himself Gaul only, but is in fact Brotherhood member TR. Now TR has got 2 cavalry, 15 chosen swordsmen, 1 druid and 2 skirmishers. So he's certainly got a very diverse army there. If we have a close look, there's the skirmishers that they can throw missiles. They're quite handy to have as pilot shield units. And then you've got the chosen swordsman there. He's usually got really good upgrades on the chosen swordsman, like 8 upgrades, something like that. And of course he's got a druid unit somewhere in there. For a morale bonus, and of course they've got the winter and woods bonus there as they stand at the moment. Okay, so what I'm just thinking here, though, if you notice the enemy team have got 3 Roman armies, 3 solid Roman armies. Okay, so imagine the firepower, okay, that they can lay down onto our Armenian ally, whose units would be extremely susceptible to any kind of missile damage. Our Carthage ally as well, their units are very susceptible, and of course my Germanic troops as well. So with the 3 Roman armies that the enemy teams have got, the firepower is amazing. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at my very old school, old-fashioned Germanic army and battle formation. I think from around about 2007. This army I first brought out onto the battlefield. You'll see that the actual outside of the battle formation are all chosen axemen with their effective against armor axes, and they can cut wide swathes through heavily armored troops like Roman infantry. And then I've got the Knight Raiders. Now the Knight Raiders infantry are okay, nothing special, but the reason I bring them is for the fear factor that they bring. Taking morale away from enemy troops, destabilizing them, making them more susceptible to routing. And then of course we go on to the infamous berserkers there, with their effective against armor maces, their 2 hit points, and of course a massive fear factor that they bring as well, taking morale away from enemy troops, destabilizing them as well. Okay, so that's the berserkers there. And then we got the screeching women. Now these ladies here, they actually are morale boosting units, and as we know, most barbarian units have got low morale, so to bring a morale boosting unit is a really good move there. Okay, and then I've got the only cavalry unit in my army there is the general chosen warlord there. Okay, if you notice, I've got no other cavalry in this army. So as I say, this is an army from around about 2007. Can it still be effective in 2025? Well, we just have to wait and see. Okay, at this very, very early stage of the battle, you'll see that Royer has brought his red Julia army forward, probably with the view to throwing in lots of pilers into Spark's Armenian spearmen there. I think that's probably why he's brought his army so far forward there. And here you can see Spark moving his spearmen towards Royer's red Julia army there, almost saying, come on then, throw your pilers, isn't he? The way he's approaching him like that. And you can see that Markus is bringing his purple SBQ army over as well. And over on our left flank, you'll see that Spark, pause the game for a second, you'll see Spark is taking his cavalry, and I think he's got 3 or 4 spear units over on that left flank as well, possibly to hit Royer in the left flank. Well, those spear units kind of pin and hold him. Maybe that's what Spark's looking at there. As I say, you can see Markus here bringing his purple SBQR troops being shadowed by no savage Scipii troops there, and you'll see Fesen moving his Carthaginians over. You can see my Germanic army. I'm going to form up behind my allies there, and just decide on where I'm going to strike with my Germanic army there. Here you'll see Royer doing a good tactical move in pulling his troops over towards his allies there. I think he was feeling that he was starting to look a little bit isolated there. And you can see there that Spark has moved his spearmen forward. And as I say, you can see Markus, his purple SBQR troops there moving towards No Savage's blue Scipii troops there. There'll be a lot of pilot exchanging going on there between those two infantry battle formations there. And as I say, you can see Fesen has put his Sacred Band Spearmen in behind our SBQR ally. And as I say, Spark moving his spearmen further towards the enemy troops. Right now, over here on our right flank, if I remember correctly, I believe Vidar was very, very aggressive in this battle. And you can see him moving his cavalry over. Now, do you remember I said to you earlier that No Savage bought this fast-moving armoured cavalry general? Okay, he's bought him round the woods there and has bought him there. Can you think why he wants a fast-moving armoured cavalry general? Why has he bought that? Okay, well, my thoughts on this is what he wants to do is get that fast-moving cavalry unit near my berserkers, or to touch my berserkers. Remember, if an enemy unit gets close to berserkers, that then activates them, and then the Germanic general loses all control over those very powerful berserkers once they're activated. And I think that's what he's thinking there, about bringing that fast-moving cavalry unit in there to try and activate my berserkers, and then riding off with that unit, trying to draw my berserkers away. But there's a lot of defense here with my axemen, my cavalry general, and of course the Armenian cavalry is there as well. So a little bit more difficult for him than he was hoping, probably. Okay, but as I say, if I remember correctly, Vidar was very, very aggressive here, looking to attack our right flank. But also, look how aggressive Spark is with his 8 upgraded cavalry, and bang, and he smashes in there. 3 more units going to hit as well, look. Bang, as they smash in there. But remember, Vidar's cavalry's got 8 upgrades on, and you can see Vidar rushing his infantry in there as well. Oh my gosh. That is a pretty tough battle there between 2 well-upgraded lots of cavalry. If you look closely, you will see that the Armenian cataphracts have been alt-attacked, and they're using their effective against armor maces. Okay, then they are very effective. And you can see that Vidar has alt-attacked some of his Brutii cavalry because they're using their heavy swords. Remember, with Praetorian cavalry, you charge in with a light lance, but once you get into melee, you auto-attack to use the heavy sword, which is more effective in melee. Okay, you can see Vidar looking to bring his infantry over there. More cavalry coming in. I think that's all the Armenian cavalry. They come bang as that the unit charged in there as well. So, as I say, you can see Vidar there getting his infantry over towards his cavalry there. And you can see enemy cavalry moving over as well. You can see Royer's red Juliite cavalry moving over there. But if you look at Vidar here, to me, he's a little bit isolated. I don't know what you think. Now, if you can see that cavalry charge in there, a lot of sparks, and bang, and it smashes in there. And oh my gosh, here comes the SBQR cavalry. Right, okay, so you can see that Spark's well-upgraded cavalry are smashing into Vidar's green infantry, but also great combination attack here, cavalry attack. Right, you can see that he's got his spearmen in there as well. Okay, so he's got his cavalry spearmen, but if you notice here, Markus is charging his cavalry in as well. So it's a great combination of Armenian and SBQR cavalry going to smash in to Vidar's infantry and cavalry. And looking at this, right, there could be a chance that Vidar's army mass routes. Just look at the angle that the Armenian cavalry are charging, and like a bang. And there goes the SBQR cavalry of Markus, and look a bang, and they smash in there. Oh my gosh. Great combination attack there by Spark and Markus there. Really, really well coordinated. And now you'll see that all of Vidar's army, his cavalry and infantry, have all been taken out because of that well-timed, well-coordinated attack from Spark and Markus there. Really well done. You notice I've taken my Germanic army over there as well, just in case they needed any additional help, but they didn't. So what I need to do now, I think, is get back over to help my Carthage ally. You'll see Fesen being very, very aggressive here, moving his Carthaginians into that Julii infantry. Now what I'm thinking is, if I bring that Germanic army of mine over here, it wouldn't surprise me if Royer with his red Julii army pulled his Roman army away, because I don't think he wants to be hit by this Germanic army that's coming towards him. So watch Royer's red Julii infantry, see if he actually does move that away. Okay, meanwhile over here on our right flank, as I say, Spark and Markus have been doing really well there, but I can see a few of our allies' units starting to rout a little bit there. Okay, there, right, okay, so what I just said about Royer's red Julii infantry, can you see he's moving his infantry away now? He was quite happy to fight the Carthaginians, but as soon as he saw this Germanic army approaching, he decided to pull his infantry back, which actually was a good tactical move, because I was just ready to smash in there with my effective against armor, axemen, knight raiders and berserkers there. So that was a good move there by Royer to pull his red Julii army back towards his allies. Okay, so as I say, a good tactical move there for him to do that. You can see my Germanic army is kind of locked and loaded, but, and I'm just going to explain this to you, I've got my army locked and loaded. I want to attack Royer, but can you see there's a big gap between my army and his army? And what I'm worried about here is, if I charge forward, how many pilots has he got left that he could throw a load into my guys before I even could make contact with him? You see what I mean? That's what's worrying me at the moment. I could lose a lot of my troops before I even make contact with his infantry from his pilots. But meanwhile, over here on our right flank, as I say, Markus and Spark working together have done extremely well over there. You can see that cavalry charging in again, like a bang as it smashes in there against that no savage's blue Scipii army there. If I remember, he did really well in this battle, and here you can see him bringing his cavalry in from the right flank there into Markus's infantry, and bang as he smashes in there. Oh my gosh, that was a nice cavalry hit there by no savage, coming in from the right flank on to Markus's infantry. You can see Royer's red Julii cavalry could be brought into the fray as well here. Okay, so as I say, I think Markus and Spark need to be a little bit careful here on this right flank. I can see a lot of enemy troops starting to build up there towards them. Okay, and as I say, meanwhile over here, you'll see I've decided I'm going to charge the red Julii army there. Now straight away you see this one unit of axemen. You can see the pilots coming in on those axemen there. Okay, so I know I'm going to lose some men before I even make contact with that Julii army, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Okay, can you see them now? I've just hit war cry. When you hit war cry with the axemen, that enhances their attack specifications, and there they go, look, and bang, with their effective against armor axes. So the axemen go in first, and then the Knight Raiders. Okay, you hit war cry for the Knight Raiders, you send them in as well. The 3 stages of Germanic attack, the axemen, okay, then they go in first, then the Knight Raiders, and then the Berserkers. Okay, now the Knight Raiders, as I say, they're okay infantry, but the reason I bring them in this army is because of the fear factor they bring. So I've got 3 Berserkers and 3 Knight Raiders inflicting loads of morale damage on enemy troops before they even get into hand-to-hand fighting. You can see the Berserkers have now been activated as well. So basically all my Germanic army is going to smash in to Royer's Julii army there. Okay, but meanwhile over on our right flank here, you can see oh my gosh, you can see several of Markus's units starting to rout, and also I think you can start seeing some Armenian units starting to rout. So as I say, Spark and Markus need to be a little bit careful over here on that right flank. You've got Royer's cavalry ready to smash in as well there, so let's say a little bit of caution there maybe on the right flank after their initial success. But just watch my Germanic army charge in to this Julii army there, like a bang as they smash in there. Now remember, on each one of those units, you hit war cry, and as I say, that enhances their attack specifications, and that runs out after a while, so you just have to make sure you keep that war cry going there. See my Axemen there and my Night Raiders, see that sharp, look at the penetration that my Axemen and Night Raiders are doing in that Julii battle formation there. You can see that. But over here, look, you can see that warrior now and his cavalry over there. He's looking to charge his cavalry into the flank of my attacking Germanic army. Okay, now I saw that cavalry coming. So I am now kind of, you know that old saying, forewarned is forearmed. So I've got to turn Axemen to face that. Oh my gosh, Markus's general and a lot of his infantry has now been taken out by the enemy troops. So after Sparks and Markus' initial success on that right flank, they kind of run into a bit of trouble here. I can see that I think Markus has only got 2 or 3 infantry units left. I think he's still got his cavalry, but he's lost a lot of infantry, and I think also Sparks lost a lot of his infantry as well on that right flank of ours. So they need to be careful there. And here comes the Gaul, the fresh Gaulish troops, or warmed up fresh troops coming in there on them as well. And don't forget, those Gaulish troops have got the winter bonus as well, which enhances their specifications. Okay, but just watch out for that Julii cavalry is going to smash into the flank of my Germanic Axemen, but I've spotted them coming in, so I'm going to turn some Axemen to face that cavalry coming in on me, and bang, as the cavalry comes in. You'll notice that Royer attacks with his infantry as well. Okay, pause the game for a second. So as his cavalry hit my Axemen, right, he charged his infantry into my Axemen as well, trying for a double Hitler, infantry and cavalry that are coming in on my Axemen. So what I've done, I've turned some of my Axemen to face the cavalry coming in, but I've kept a lot of my Axemen attacking the Julii infantry as well. Okay, when you bring a Germanic army, your micromanagement, okay, it's very, very important. I've got the screeching women there, screeching, giving morale bonus to my troops. Plus, I've got the general blowing his rallying bugle. Now remember, the rallying bugle gives a lot of morale to your troops. So I've got the rallying bugle plus the screeching women giving morale to my Germanic troops there. Okay, notice that I'm keeping both the screeching women and the general out of the fight. They're just there to give morale bonus. But look at that cavalry, really trying to penetrate my Axemen. Now, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but effective against armoured Germanic Axemen can chop up enemy cavalry. And you'll see that there, you can see how well my Germanic troops are holding there against that big cavalry hit. Okay, and as I say, don't forget, I've got some of my Axemen there attacking the Julii infantry as well, but I think I did turn the most of my Axemen against that cavalry charge. Right, here comes Fesen now with his Carthaginians coming into the fray. Okay, you can see there my Berserkers, my chosen Axemen, and my Night Raiders are doing a lot of damage to enemy troops there. And what I would say, anybody that brings Germania, be aggressive. Okay, be as aggressive as you can, but work with your teammates as much as possible. Right here, as I say, you can see Fesen and myself attacking some of the Gaulish warriors there, but sadly, over here you'll see a lot of Sparks and Markus's units have been routed there by enemy troops. Okay, that No Savage Blue Scipio army and the Gaulish troops and the red Julii cavalry there could cause a lot of trouble. Now here you can see that Spark has still got some of his heavy spearmen left, and he's got some of his cavalry left here, but make no mistake, Markus and Spark have lost a lot of units on that right flank. Okay, oh my gosh, and now Spark's lost his general as well there, so he's lost a general morale bonus as well. Okay, but here you can see him moving his spearmen forward. You see my Germanic army there, aggressive, attack. That's what I'm doing there, hitting the war cry, making sure the war cry button is on all the time. The moment that it goes off, I'm hitting it again so that it goes in again. You can see some of Markus' SPQ or cavalry coming in there to assist the attack. Okay, here you can see, as I say, Fesen's spearmen there, the Sacred Band spearmen moving forward in combination with my Germanic army, and also you can see Sparks Armenian heavy spearmen there as well. But as I say, we're moving over now towards those Gaulish troops there. I think most of, they were no savage is Scipio troops. I think most of them have now been taken out there. And we're now moving towards Gaul. There you can see Sparkus taking some of his Armenian heavy spearmen there to attack Gaul. And my Germanic troops now, I'm directing them over towards those Gaul troops there. But remember, when you activate your berserkers, the Germanic general loses all control of them, so they'll just attack the nearest enemy unit. But obviously the chosen axemen and the Night Raiders, you've got control over them. So you can see there, but don't forget both Gaul and Germania have got the winter bonus in this battle. There's another one of Sparks. Spearmen has just gone there. I can see Royer's cavalry there. And you can see that no savage's blue Scipio cavalry there, what he's got left, being attacked by Markus' cavalry. Okay, I can see the berserkers moving in now onto these Gaulish troops, which are holding quite well. Meanwhile, over here you'll see enemy Julii cavalry fighting the Armenian cataphracts. But remember, those Armenian cataphracts got those effective against armor maces, and they really are effective there. And it was surprising that Julii unit routed. There you are, it's been routed by that those Armenian cavalry. And it looks like our team has managed to go on to win the battle there. Now, if you watch these Gaulish troops here, if I remember correctly, okay, now just watch them closely, okay, and you'll see what happens when you hit war cry. Okay, if you notice here, can you see, if you look closely there, can you see that action they're doing, hitting their shields? That means the war cry button's just been hit, and they're now going to charge into my berserkers. And my berserkers, I'm guessing, going to chop them up pretty good. Look at the berserkers smashing them. But I thought that was quite interesting for you to see what happens when you hit the war cry button, how they hit their shields with their swords. Right, so just look at Fesen's massive Carthage army there. He's still got loads of troops left. I didn't think he'd lost that many. Meanwhile, just have a quick look at the battlefield over here on the left flank there. You can see there, but the bodies are laying in the long grass, so you don't see them that clearly there. And over here, this is where my Germanic army hit that Julii infantry battle formation there. Okay, do you remember that? And see all that dead Julii cavalry that came in on my flank? But if you notice here, can you see these Germanic troops of mine here? They were killed by pilots before they could even get into hand-to-hand combat there. So as I say, when you bring a Germanic army, you must be very, very careful about enemy pilots. Okay? As you move across the battlefield here, you can see, as I say, there's a lot of long grass here, so you can't see the bodies very clearly. But you can see that there are a lot of bodies there, where you can see the intensity of the fighting there. As you move over here, you can see, oh my gosh, loads of cavalry dead there. Yeah, you can see that's all I've got left in my Germanic army, plus my berserkers. That's all that I've got left. And I think, if I remember correctly, Markus might have maybe, what's that, 2 cavalry units there. He might have maybe 3 units there. It's got 2, 3, yeah. So at the end of the battle, Markus has got 3 units left. That goes to show how intense the fighting was. You'll see that I think Spark has only got a few units left, all very, very battle damaged, as you can see there. So you can see how tough this battle was by just looking at the casualties that Markus and Spark suffered. But you can see that Fesen's infantry, you know, basically look pretty well intact, don't they? There's so many of them there. And I think the enemy have got 1 unit left, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the Gaul general unit. He just admitted defeat. So as I say, it looks like our team has managed to go on to win the battle there. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to say is, as always, really well played to both teams. I thought both teams played really well there. Some very, very aggressive attacking by both teams there. And I was surprised it was a clear victory, because when you looked at the troops that we had left, I thought it would have been an average. So it must have just literally edged into the clear. Highest kills in the game, okay, goes to my Germanic army. 7 short of the magic 2000. Okay, so this army here and battle formation is from 2007. I bought it to 2025, and look at the kills that it can still get in 2025. And I've still got a lot of troops left, really, so I'm very pleased with that battle formation, that very old school, old-fashioned battle formation. Well done to Vidar. Now, he'll be disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills, but he was kind of smashed and crashed on our right flank there with that very aggressive attack he put in there, didn't he? Markus and Spark really combined an attack. Well done to No Savage. He got some great kills there. I thought he played very well with his Scipio army. Royer got over 1,000 kills, so well done to him. And unfortunately, TR got less than 1,000 kills. He'll probably be a bit disappointed about that. But really well played, guys. Well done. As I say, just 7 short of that magic 2000 there with that very, very old school, old-fashioned army. Well done to Spark. Got some good kills with his Armenian army there. Really good kills. Well done to Fesen. Now, he might be disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills, but look at the troop numbers he's got left. He lost less than 500 troops in that whole battle. So, well done to Fesen. And well done to Markus there. Got some good kills there as well. So, really well played there, guys. It's a good battle. Right, faction advantage. So, we had Germania, Armenia, Carthage, and Rome. Quite a strong combination. And they had Rome, and Gaul. And remember that Germania and Gaul got the winter bonus in this battle as well. So, I say, you know, what, do you think pretty even-ish there for the teams? Anyway, just to say, please put your thoughts in the comments. It's always nice to read what you think about our battles. And any of the RTW campaign community watching this battle, the RTW Multiplayer community have issued an invite to all the campaign players to come on to Rome Total War Multiplayer Friday, Saturday and Sunday of this week. We'd love the campaign people to come on to the multiplayer and play a few large 3v3 and 4v4 battles with us. So any of you that play the campaign that watch our battles, please come on to the multiplayer part of the game Friday, Saturday and Sunday, because it'd be really good to see you. And hey, you might enjoy these big battles that you watch regularly. This is Spartan Commander saying bye for now. See you soon.